Today we're talking about the importance of identification. Whether we're identifying a desperate plea for help from the last vestiges of your sanity, or just basically what your options are within scale degrees of a chord progression, I've got your answer right here. So today what we're going to do is going to sound like this. So, we can kind of make this jazzy, we can make this funky, but it's important to kind of understand what we're doing here, all right? At the heart of this is going to be in the people's key of G, but I'm really not going to use a lot of a G major chord. I'm going to use a D major chord and a C major chord. We're going to use these bar chord voicings. You don't necessarily have to, but I think this is a great way to kind of showcase just how you can really use one kind of simple variation of something and make it sound great. I'm rocking out the Fender Ultra Strat. I absolutely love this guitar. I'll link it in the description if you guys are interested. But basically we're going to start with this D major chord right here. My root note is the 5th fret on the A string. This is a D note, right? And then I'm just getting this, it's a bar chord. You can play other ways, but I'm getting the 7th fret of the D, G, and B string. I'm playing it finger style. Play it with a pick, do whatever you want, okay? So first of all, we're going to announce this chord has arrived. And then we're going to do something a little fancy to kind of, just make it more playful, more fun to play. And it's going to sound like this. Okay, I'm double stopping through other notes in this key. All right, so like I said, the important thing here is the key of G is what we're in, but I'm playing a note or a chord that isn't G major. I'm playing D. If we go through the notes in the key of G, G, A, B, C, D, D is the 5th note. All right, that chord, if I turn that note into a chord using just notes from G major, I get a D major chord. If I want to go one step beyond, I can get a D7 chord. All that means is I'm going to start using other notes in the key of G to supplement and enhance what I'm hearing. D. And then I want to find what's special about D's spot in another key. Basically, we're going to start talking a little bit about modes. Modes is super confusing, but this is going to be, I guess, a modal way to look at how I'm playing this chord. All right? Now, the notes in the key of G are just G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. All right, it has one sharp, it's F. Now, I can play those starting on a D. It looks like this. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, and then D again, right? D, E, F sharp. There's that F sharp, the one that's not natural, right? I can do it with a hand shape where it's like middle, pinky, index, middle, pinky, index, middle, pinky. Looks a lot like the D major scale if you learn hand shapes and stuff. But it has a flat 7. So this note right here, the 7th note is what makes it special, all right? Now, what this really allows us to do in this position is to make this double stop pattern, because all of these notes are super easy to play, because if you look at the notes right there, you'll notice that the D and G string are identical, right? They're kind of symmetrical. There's a lot of symmetry there, which is great for double stopping, playing two notes at the same time. Again, I'm just using my thumb and my pointer finger to kind of pick it out, right? Again, if you want to learn more about this stuff, I go into great detail with the modes with my buddy Justin, which I'll make the course that we did half off in that link. I think that works for like 5 to 7 days, something like that. So check that out if you haven't already. But basically, I'm going to start adding what's special about this chord to its position through this little pattern. I've got the chord. And then I'm going to kind of just jump around in it, right? So I'm going to get the root note of the chord, and then I'm going to use my fingers to grab the rest of it, right? So D, the chord, and then I'm just going to kind of play around in what I think is kind of the money spot of this position, where, again, if I don't play it in order, the thing that's interesting is that minor 7, that 7th note being flattened from a regular major thing. So, you can think of this as kind of like playing around in a modal scale shape. I think that's just kind of like a complicated way of saying I'm just playing in the key of G around this chord. So maybe like the first half of what we're doing is just like the root and the chord, and then then going back and then ending on that root note to really establish this is D's spot. And then I end there, right? Anything I do in between is just going to be whatever's going on in the key of G notes. Right? Really easy to play because you can just take one finger and get both strings. So anytime you're on the 5th degree of whatever key and you're on the A string, root note, all of these notes are available to you to do whatever you want. Now, we're going to pair this with another major chord in that key, C major, which the nice thing about this is I can use the exact same hand shape to play the exact same chord, but what I'm going to accompany that chord with is actually going to be different, right? So here's the D one, C. A little bit different, right? Now, I'm using a lot of the same notes, actually. This is really just a different mode. This would be the Lydian mode as compared to the 5th one being the mixed Lydian mode. Again, the names really aren't super important unless you're trying to impress your fancy music theory friends, because we've all been there. We know it. We know they're out there. I'm looking at you. Quit shaming people, right? C Lydian. It's just like the major. It's just like before, except we have a sharp 4. So I have 3, 5, 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5. That right there, that guy, is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, a sharp 4. That's what just makes it special in this spot. So the nice thing about this, when you root it on the A string, this hand position, much like in D's spot, is symmetrical. Except now it's just a little bit different. Now it's a whole step and a half step on both strings instead of a half step and a whole step. So you can kind of think of it as like the inverse, but really they share these notes because they're just notes in the key of G. I'm just starting on a C. C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. Right? So I can do the same thing, but now I'm double stopping through just a different type of position. 5th fret, 4th fret, 2nd fret, 4th fret. Okay? So here's D's spot. 7, 5, 4, 5, 4, root. C's spot. 5, 4, 2, 4. Again, thinking of it in frets might not be the best way to do it, but I think it's the best way to kind of explain exactly where this is going. Now, if you want to get a super modal sound, you could do the same position over both chords, okay? Because again, at its core, these are both major chords. The only thing that makes a major chord is its root, its 3rd, and its 5th. And regardless of which of these positions you are, the 1, 3, 5 to make up the chord is going to be the same. That's why they're both major chords. Remember, what's important about about D spot is it has a flat 7. What's important about C spot is it has a sharp 4. So 4 or 7 has nothing to do with making a 1, 3, 5 major chord, right? But we can kind of do these back and forth. Again, I'm thinking of this as being in the key of G, which we're going to expand upon in just a second. But we don't have to think that way, right? We can think of these as two totally separate entities. I'm doing something in D mixed Lydian. I can use C mixed Lydian. C. I'm just kind of repeating that pattern in different spots. Technically, that's not in one key. You can think of that as a key change if you want. I just think of that as just doing something mixo-Lydian-ish on the same thing. We could do the same thing Lydian-wise with sharp 4 on both of them. Here's D Lydian, right? Again, that's why, if this is confusing you so far, definitely make sure to check out that class because, there's tabs and stuff. We talk in depth about each spot and what makes it special. But again, the Lydian, that sharp 4, we can do it both ways. D, C. Okay, we're just kind of going back and forth and bringing that pattern with us, as compared to playing in the same key. I think this. I like that. To me, that sounds more musical just because I'm so used to it, first of all, just because that's kind of my playing style, I guess. But I like it because it showcases the difference in sound of the 5 chord and the 4 chord, possibility-wise, in kind of, a musical way. And then we can kind of really maybe bookend that with something in the key. Let's go to a G major chord, major 7, because I'm nasty. I like to party, no big deal. Right? This is, like I said, we're in the key of G. So 3rd fret on the low E string is my G. I can grab the G major 7 right there, that F sharp with my ring finger, 4th fret D string, pinky 4th fret G string, middle finger 3rd fret B string, and then maybe add another chord, E minor 7, which is the 6th chord in any key, right? Again, scale degrees. It's all about scale degrees, people. If you don't have this figured out by now, definitely check it out. So this is the 1 chord. The 6th chord in any key is relative minor. I'm going to do a little hammer on E minor 7 action there. 7th fret, but with my ring finger on the 9th fret of the D string and my middle finger on the 8th fret of the B string. And then it kind of bookends, home bass, if you will, with these kind of cool double stop things. So we've got D, C, D, C, G, E minor, back to D, C, D. Again, I really can't stress how important it is to think of, what makes each spot special, right? The 1 chord is just like home bass, feels good. The minor 7 chord is kind of, it definitely has its own pull on a progression. Something a lot of people like is the 2 chord, and how that would be the Dorian mode that has what's called a sharp 6 from the minor scale. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but again, as far as symmetrical shapes go, this one's really nice because if we have A minor with a sharp 6, again we get there's that symmetry, 5 7 9 5 7 9. So even if you have nothing to do with A minor in this scale, in this key, think of the symmetry of these notes right here. We could add that to an A minor. Or we could even add these to the other chords. Here's D, C, so it's all just about how you want to kind of couple your knowledge of what makes a certain position special within an umbrella of a key. And I personally think that's the best way to kind of teach, just making things a little bit more interesting. Taking everything in one key, like I said, the people's key, key of G major, whether you play it this style or whether you play it 3 frets per string style, 3 notes per string style, you can kind of just pair them with a chord, and I think that's what makes it musical, because really the chords are what make the structure of songs in general, and I think really kind of knowing what's special about each chord and where it lies in the key is of utmost importance. So like I said, definitely take that class if you haven't checked it out already. It's going to be on sale for a few days. And then also maybe consider going to the Patreon, because I talk a little bit more about where all this stuff matters inside of teaching songs over on the Patreon. Plus there's like a whole beginner intermediate class that we're getting into. So if you have any questions or comments, hit it up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.